Hello, my name is Keshwani. There's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to learn how to solve algebra word problems. Today we'll solve problem number 159. Problem, as you can see, is already on the blackboard. Let's take a look at it. We have four people, A, B, C, and D. And we are told that they have a grand total of $140 among themselves. Furthermore, we are told that B has 7 times as much money as C does. B has 7 times as much as C. And D, as in David, has 3 times as much as A. Also, we are told that B and D together have $20 less than 11 times what A has. The question simply is, how much money does each has? How much money does each has? As you can see, this question is very similar, very comparable to what we did yesterday, the previous video, number 158. And before I actually start solving the problem, I'm not quite sure about the grammar of the thing. Should it say how much person does each have, or how much person does each has? I'm not sure. I think it should say has, because I'm pretty sure each is singular. You would say, for example, each boy has 3 books, or each boy has $2. You're not going to say each boy have. We might say each room has 2 bulbs. We're not going to say each room have 2 bulbs, are we? I don't think so. So how much does each person has, I think is correct, but as I said, I'm not sure about it. So here we are going to have 4 unknowns, just like yesterday, just like number 158. 4 unknowns, A, B, C, and D we're going to use to represent the number of, but rather the amount of money that each person has. So we're going to use the same symbol as their names. A is going to represent the amount of money that A has, C is going to represent the amount of money that C has, and so on and so forth. Why don't you do this problem yourself first, pause the video, solve it yourself, and once you have done so, then compare your work against the work that you and I will do together in a few seconds time. Okay, I'll get out of your way. I'll give you 5 seconds for you to be able to pause and unpause the video. Here we go. Alright, so just like yesterday, just like number 158, the very first thing we need to realize here is that because of the fact that we need to solve for 4 unknowns, A, B, C, and D, we need to have 4 independent equations. What are the 4 independent equations in this problem? Where are they buried? Let's find out, shall we? So the very first equation is right there. A, B, C, and D together have a total of $148. That's our first equation. A, the amount of money that A has, B represents the amount of money that B has, C represents the amount of money that C has, plus the D, they have a total of 148. That was the easy part. Then they go on to tell us that B has 7 times as much money as C. B has 7 times as much money as C. Whatever money, the amount of money that C has, if you were to take the 7 times that amount, that's how much B has. That's our second equation. They go on to tell us D has 3 times as much money as A does. D has 3 times as much money as A does. Whatever the amount of money that A has, if you were to multiply it by 3, that's how much money that D has. That's our third equation. They further go on to tell us that B and D together, so B and D together, the amount of money that B and D together have happens to be $20 less than 11 times the amount of money that A does. So if you take the amount of money that A has and multiply it by 11, whatever this amount is, 11 times the amount of money that A has, that's how much total amount of money that B and D have together. Is that true? The answer is no, that's not true. We are told that B and D together have $20 less than the 11 times the amount of money. They do not have the 11 times the amount of money that A has, but whatever this amount is, they have $20 less than that amount. So we have to take away 20 from it. Those are our 4 equations. This equation right here, the grand equation, the grand total, and this 3 bits of pieces. We have to work with this 4 equations and solve for 4 unknowns. Very simple. So let's get going, shall we? Enough of the talk. That's our first equation right here, which is B plus D happens to be 11 times A minus 20. I'm not quite sure where we're going to end up with it, but we'll see what happens. Let's substitute B equals 7 times C. I'm going to put it in here. B equals 7 times C. and D equals 3 times A. D equals 3 times A. And see where we get with it. A plus C. Oh, so here we end up with an equation with A and C. A and C, but this one gives us B and D. So this is B and D. Somehow we should have, this is B and D. Okay, watch what happens. Let's first finish this thing before we worry about that part. So A plus 3A is 4A. And 7C plus C is 8C. And that has to equal 148. The very first thing we notice is that 4, 8 and 148, they are all multiples of 4. So instead of leaving the equation the way it is, let's reduce it so that we have a smaller number to work with. Let's divide this entire equation by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is just 1, so it becomes A. 8 divided by 4 is going to be 2, so it's 2 times C. And how many 4 does 148 have? How many 4s does 1 have? 1 has no 4. That 1 goes and joins the 4 and becomes 14. How many 4 does 14 have? 14 has 3 4s. 3 4s are 12. 3 4s are 12. After we take away 12 from the 14, the remaining 2 goes and joins the 8 and becomes 28. And how many 4 does 28 have? 28 has 7 4s. We know 7 4s are 28. It has 7 4s. So it's 37. So that's our one equation. We're going to have to work with this thing. What happens here? D plus D equals 11 minus 28. We have an A here. Somehow we have to convert this B and D into A and C. Oh, there you go. B equals 7 times C. So let's put it here. 7 times C. And D equals 3 times A. There you go. 3 times. Oh, voila. 11A minus 20. Bring everything on this side. So if you bring 3A on this side, it becomes, subtract 3A from both sides. So we're going to end up with 8A here, and this 3A is going to drop out. Bring the 7C on that side, minus 7C, and bring the 20 on this side. Voila. I'm going to rewrite this equation. Well, or we can just leave it like this and put a 20 here. Okay. Notice we have 8A here, we have only 1A here. That step that we just did here was not necessary, because you see, we have a 7C here, we have a 2C here. If we try to make the coefficient of the C the same, if we try to make the coefficient of these two equations in C the same, then we would have to multiply this equation by 7, and we'll have to multiply this equation by 2 to make them 14. 7 times 2 and 7 times 2. We'll end up doing twice as much work. Here we have 8A, here we had 4A, so this step was not necessary. Let's leave it like this, 148, and just multiply this entire equation by 2. Multiply this equation by 2. So here we go. 4 times 2 is 8A, 4 times 8 is 16C, equals 148 times 2, 150 times 2 would be 300, so it's going to be 296. And now write this equation underneath it. So we have 8A, which has a positive sign in front of it, minus 7C. Minus 7C equals 20. Equals 20, which also has a positive sign. And now we can subtract this bottom equation that we wrote here from here, subtract it from the top equation, and see what happens. So if you subtract 8A minus 8A, so it's positive is going to become negative, this negative is going to become positive, and this positive is going to become negative. And positive 8A and negative 8A is going to cancel out. 16 plus 7, 16C plus 7C is going to be 16 plus 4 is 20, 20, 23. That is very odd. It is 23. Minus 20. 96 minus 20. 96 minus 10 would be 86, so it's 76. 276. What we notice is that from 276, if we were to subtract 230, if we take away 230 from 76, what we end up is 646. And are you able to see that 46 is simply 2 times? It's simply 2 times 23. 2 times 23 is 46. And what does 230 represent? 230 represents 10 times 23. 10 times 23 and 2 times 23. In other words, 23C equals 276. That tells us that C is 12. Why C is 12? Because these 276 that we see there is simply 230 plus 46. It's simply, this amount is simply 230 plus 46. 230 is 10 times C and 46 is 2 times C. So C is equal to 12. If C is equal to 12, we can pick up our speed here. C we know is 12, let's put it in here, which means B must be 7 times 12. How much is 7 times 12? 7 times 10 is 70. And 7 times 2 is 14. So it's 84. That's our B. That's our B. Here's our D, 3 times A. We haven't figured out A yet. In order to figure out A, we have to first figure out the D. Let's say work on the D. Where can we work on D? Where can we find? There is B plus D equals right here. We need the room. There is no choice. We need more room. It's getting too crowded. So let's do it on the top. I'm going to redo this B part here. B equals 7 times C. Well, C we know is 12. So it's simply 7 times 12. And how much is 7 times 12? I don't know. I don't know how the hell 7 times 12 is. 7 times 10 is 70. And 7 times 2 is 14. It must be 84. So that's our B. We already have C. Let's work on A. No, let's work on D. B plus D right here. Is there a simpler equation? B plus D right here. This equation I'm going to work with. But this equation has A in it and we haven't figured out A yet. What is it that we need to figure out? We already know C. C is 12. B is 12. B is 84. B is 84. Oh, we can figure out D. D is 3 times A. D is 3 times A. But we don't know how much A is yet. Or we can figure out A from here. We can figure out A from here because we know C. C is 12 right here. So let's figure out A from this equation. This equation tells us, I'm going to work with this equation right here. On the top here, 20 minus 8a minus 7c. 8a minus 7c equals 20. We are interested in figuring out 8a. So this tells us that 8a equals 20 plus 7c. 20 plus 7c. 7c which is 84. 84 plus 84. 7c is 84. 84 plus 20. 84 plus 20 would be 94. 104. So it's 104 equals 8a. Divide the entire equation by 8 and we'll have the a by itself because 8 will cancel out. How many 8 does 10 have? 10 has 1 8. 10 has 1 8. The remaining 2 goes and joins the 4 and becomes 24. And how many 4s does 24 have? 24 has 3 8s. And that's our A. There we go. Now we know our A, now we know our B, now we know our C. We can figure out the D. D is 3 times A, which is going to be 3 times 13, which is going to be 39. Well, the last thing we need to do is to verify our work, which I'm going to do right now step by step. So here is our A, which is 13. Here is our B, which is 84. Here is our C, which is 12. And here is our D, which we're claiming to be 39. And as long as these 4 figures add up to 148, that would mean that our figures are correct. So keep your fingers crossed. Let's see if they add up to 48. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. That's a good sign. It ends in an 8. 18, 8, carry 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 8 is 10, and 1 plus 3 is 4. Oh, there you go. 148. Just like it's supposed to be. Our work is indeed correct. Bye now.